Yo, what's good, Laker Nation? Listen, I've told you about LeBron's statement on the court, I've told you about Reeves' tunnel interview, and now I need to tell you about the third moment from tonight that has the entire basketball world talking. And honestly, this one might be the most powerful of them all, because it didn't come from a player who was on the court. It didn't come from a man who contributed to the 98-78 victory. It came from Luka Doncic, who watched the entire game from the locker room wearing a Lakers warm-up jacket and a visible hamstring wrap, who couldn't play a single minute tonight, who has been sidelined since before Game 5, and who still felt the need to sit in front of a camera after the game and deliver a message to the media, to the critics, and specifically to Stephen A. Smith. That was so personal, so emotional, and so defiant that it might be the most important interview of the entire series. Because Luka Doncic didn't just defend his teammates tonight, he declared war on every narrative that has been built around this team since his injury. And he did it with the authority of a man who knows he's about to return to the court and make every doubter pay. Hey, what's up everyone? Real quick before we get into everything, that like button is literally what determines if this reaches hundreds or thousands of fans. Takes 1 second but makes a huge impact on the channel's growth. Just smash that like button right now. It's the easiest thing you can do, but honestly the biggest way to support this content. Every single like pushes this further, so hit it now. The scene in the locker room was powerful. While LeBron and Reeves were doing their post-game interviews on the court and in the tunnel, Luka was sitting in the Lakers locker room at his stall, still in his warm-up gear, the hamstring wrap clearly visible on his right leg. He had watched the entire game on the locker room monitors, and according to teammates who spoke afterward, he was the loudest person in the building, even though he was underground. He was screaming at the TV during big plays. He was pounding the training table when the Lakers made defensive stops. He was living and dying with every possession like he was on the court himself. And when the final buzzer sounded, when the celebration erupted on the court above him, Luka apparently sat quietly for a moment, then turned to the nearest member of the Lakers media team and said, "Get me a camera, I need to say something." The camera was set up at his locker. Luka was sitting, not standing because of the hamstring. His posture was slightly hunched from the injury, but his eyes were blazing, not with pain, with purpose. And when the red light on the camera turned on, Luka didn't wait for a reporter. He didn't wait for a question. He just started talking. And what came out was the most passionate, most emotionally raw thing I've heard from Luka Doncic since he arrived in Los Angeles. "I heard everything," he began. His voice was tight, controlled, but vibrating with intensity beneath the surface. Every single thing that was said while I was in treatment, every take, every prediction, every analysis of how the Lakers were finished because Luka Doncic pulled his hamstring. Stephen A. Smith said our season ended the moment I felt the muscle. He said that on national television. He looked at the camera and told millions of people that because one player got hurt, an entire team's championship hopes were over. He paused and shook his head slowly. That is the most disrespectful thing you can say about a basketball team. Not disrespectful to me, disrespectful to my brothers. To the men who went out on that court tonight without me and won by 20 points on the road to close out a playoff series. You told the world they couldn't do it, and they did it. And they didn't just do it, they dominated. Then he addressed the narrative that the Lakers can't win without him, and you could hear the frustration building with every word. The media has this obsession with making everything about stars, about superstars. LeBron and Luka, Luka and LeBron. Like, basketball is a two-man game. Like, there aren't 13 guys on this roster who contribute, who sacrifice, who give their bodies every night. When I got hurt, the narrative instantly became, the Lakers are done because Luka is out. Nobody talked about Austin Reeves, who averaged 23 points per game this season. Nobody talked about Marcus Smart, who had a historic Game 3. Nobody talked about DeAndre Ayton, who has been a monster on the boards. Nobody talked about the coaching staff, about JJ Redick's game plan, about the defensive schemes. It was just no Luka, no chance. And that makes me furious, not because they doubted the team, because they disrespected the team. He leaned forward, wincing slightly from the hamstring, and continued. Let me tell you about what I saw tonight. I saw LeBron James, a 41-year-old man, play 38 minutes of playoff basketball and control every single aspect of the game. He didn't score 40. He didn't have to. He made every right pass, every right decision, every right play, because that's what greatness looks like when it's operating at its highest level. LeBron James doesn't need me to win a basketball game. He proved that tonight. He proved it in Game 3 when he threw that alley-oop to Bronny. He's been proving it for 23 years. And the fact that people are still doubting him, still questioning him, still writing his obituary every time he has a bad game, that tells you more about the media than it does about LeBron. Then he talked about Austin Reeves, and you could hear the respect in every syllable. Austin went 4 for 15 in Game 5. And I was sitting here in this locker room watching the game on the monitor, and I felt sick. Not because of the shooting, because I knew that if I had been on the court, Austin wouldn't have had to carry that offensive load. He was doing my job. He was trying to fill my shoes. And the pressure of that, combined with the oblique that's still not 100%, it was too much. And instead of the media understanding that, instead of giving him grace, they called him a fluke. A man who fought through injury to play for his team was called a fluke. His voice got harder. And what did Austin do? He went to the gym at 4 a.m., shot until he couldn't lift his arms, and came out tonight and played the best game of his series. That is who Austin Reeves is. Not the 4 for 15 version. The 4 a.m. version. The version who refuses to let a bad game define him. He addressed Ayton. DeAndre came to this team for $8 million. $8 million because he wanted to win. Because he believed in what we're building, and the media's response to that has been to call him lazy, to call him soft, to say he's on vacation. The man had 18 and 17 in Game 5, and they said he was in the Bahamas. Tonight he was a wall in the paint. He defended, he rebounded, he ran the floor. DeAndre Ayton deserves respect, and I'm tired of watching the people on TV refuse to give it to him. And then Luka got personal, and this is the part that made the interview transcend sports. He said, "You know what the hardest part of being injured during the playoffs is? It's not the physical pain. The hamstring hurts, yes, but I've played through pain my whole career. The hardest part is the helplessness. Watching your brothers fight without you, watching them struggle and knowing you can't help, watching them get attacked by the media and knowing that if you were on the court, the narrative would be completely different. I sat here for Game 5 and watched the Lakers lose, and I felt responsible, even though I wasn't on the court, even though the injury wasn't my fault. I felt like I had let them down by not being available, and that guilt, that helplessness, it's been eating at me for a week." His voice cracked slightly, and you could see the emotion in his eyes. But tonight, watching them go out and win, watching them close this series without me, watching LeBron be LeBron and Reeves be a warrior, and Smart be a dog and Ayton be a wall, tonight I felt something different. Not guilt, pride, overwhelming, uncontrollable pride in my teammates. Because they didn't need me tonight. They proved that this team is bigger than any one player. Even me, even LeBron, this team is a unit, and units don't break when you remove one piece. They adapt, they adjust. They get stronger. Then he addressed Stephen A directly, and the smirk that appeared on his face was vintage Luka, that European sarcasm that has been driving American media crazy since he entered the league. Stephen A, you should know better by now. You should know that basketball is a team sport. You've been covering this league for how long? 30 years? And you still reduce everything to stars and superstars? You still think that one player getting hurt means the whole thing collapses? That's lazy analysis. And I say that with all respect. You're great at what you do. You're the most entertaining person in sports media, but entertainment and analysis are different things. And what you did this week, declaring our season over because of my hamstring, that was entertainment. It wasn't analysis, because any analyst who actually watches the games would know that this Lakers team has the depth, the defense, and the coaching to win without any single player. And then came the closing that is going to have every team left in the playoffs absolutely shaking. Luka sat up straighter, ignored the hamstring pain, and said, "I'm coming back. The hamstring is healing. The doctors are optimistic." And when I step on that court again, when I join this team that just proved it can win without me, when LeBron and Luka are back together on the same floor with Reeves and Smart and Ayton and the rest of this roster, I need every team left in the playoffs to understand something. What you saw tonight, the 20-point road victory, the suffocating defense, the controlled offense, that was us at half strength, half. And when I come back, it won't be half anymore. It'll be full. and full-strength Lakers with a LeBron who just closed out a series alone, and a Luka who has been sitting on a couch watching film for 2 weeks and is starving to play. That's the most dangerous team in basketball, and it's coming soon. He looked at the camera one final time. Stephen A., my brother, shut your mouth today. I wanted to do it myself, but they didn't need me. That's the best part. They didn't need me, but they're getting me back anyway. And when they do, the world is going to understand why I came to LA. Not for the weather, not for the movies, for the ring that LeBron deserves, for the ring that Austin deserves, for the ring that this city deserves. We're not done. We're just starting, and the next team that faces us is going to wish they hadn't. The camera held on his face for a moment, then the feed cut. And I'm sitting here realizing that in one night, 3 Lakers players just delivered 3 of the most powerful post-game messages of the entire 2026 NBA playoffs. LeBron in the arena, standing alone, declaring that the throne still has an owner. Reeves in the tunnel, telling the world to stop the disrespect. And Luka in the locker room, injured but defiant, promising that full-strength Lakers are coming and the league isn't ready. Think about what the next opponent is facing. A LeBron who just proved he can close series alone. A Reeves who went through the fire of a 4-for-15 game and came out a better player. A Smart who is playing historically great defense. An Ayton who is dominating the paint. And a Luka Doncic who is about to return. Hungry, motivated, with 2 weeks of rest and film study. Ready to join a team that doesn't need him but is going to be unstoppable with him. That's not a team. That's a nightmare. And it's coming for the Larry O'Brien trophy. He started walking toward the locker room again, then stopped one more time and turned back. One more thing, everybody's been focused on what happens without Luka, how we survive without our second star. Well, now you've seen it. We didn't just survive, we thrived. We won by 20 on the road in a close-out game. And when Luka comes back, when he's healthy and ready to go, when this team is at full strength, I want every single team left in these playoffs to think about what they just saw tonight and add Luka Doncic to it. Add one of the most talented offensive players in NBA history to a team that just won by 20 without him. That's what's coming. That's what the next opponent has to deal with. LeBron and Luka and me and Smart and Ayton and the deepest roster in basketball. Stop the disrespect. We are built for this, and we're proving it game by game. He turned and disappeared into the locker room, and I'm sitting here thinking that that is the Austin Reeves that the Lakers invested in, not the 4-for-15 version from Game 5, the version who goes to the gym at 4 a.m. after the worst game of his career and shoots until his arms are numb because he refuses to let his team down again. The version who stands in a tunnel after a series-clinching road win and tells the world to stop disrespecting his group. That is a championship player, and the Lakers just proved that they have 3 of them. LeBron, Luka when he returns, and Austin Reeves. I want to hear from all of Laker Nation. How far is this team going? Championship or bust? Which interview hit you the hardest? LeBron, Reeves, or Luka? Drop everything in the comments. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, because the second round is coming and I'll be right here covering every moment. The first round is done, the Lakers are advancing, and the King, the Engine, and the injured General just told the world that the best is yet to come. Laker Nation, we're moving on, and we're bringing the trophy home. I'll see y'all for the next round. Peace.